Alright guys, welcome to my garage. This is a gear dump video all about spring bear. I have a couple trips planned in the next few weeks. I have a spring bear tag in Idaho and I drew a spring bear tag in Oregon. So I've been going through all my gear, dialing everything in, checking out my food, just kind of making sure I have everything I need and give myself a few weeks to order the stuff that I might be missing. So anyway, let's jump right into this thing. So for me this year, new piece of gear. This is the K4 7200 from Exo Mountain Gear. I'm sure you've seen this pack floating all around the internet. It seems to be pretty popular out there right now. I've been an Exo guy since the K2. I love their packs. They're simple. They can press down nice and small, and I just like their packs. So for me, I was excited to get my hands on this K4 because I'm a kind of a taller guy, 6'2". And if I had one complaint about the previous frames, it'd be the height. I felt like with a heavy load, I could really never get that pack up on my shoulders to kind of get some of that weight off and transfer it down to my hips. I just felt like it was always just kind of pulling me down on a heavy load. So these new frames, I got the tallest frame they offer. I think it's 26.5 inches long, and I've taken this on some pretty heavy training hikes with about 70 to 75 pounds. And absolutely love the way this thing feels. It feels like it's just like a glove on my body, and those low lifters are nice and high, so the weight feels really good on there. The reason why I went with the 7200 is typically it's a lot bigger than what I've had in the past. I had the 4800 before this, and then I had the 3500 before that. I've just found that on those longer hunts, it's just really tight to get all your gear in there, especially if you're packing like a hot tent, seek outside, teepee with a stove, and then you got 7 or 8 days worth of food. I've also ran into the problem where you got to pack a lot of water into some of these areas, you know, say 12 liters of water in some bladders. And with all that water and your tent and your food, it's just super tight in a 4800. Can you do it? Yes, I've done it for a couple years and made it work, but you can see how small this pack compresses down for a 7200 inch pack. It's just, to me, it just was a no-brainer. Might as well go big. Few extra ounces of weight on the pack itself, but to me it's worth it. So that's going to be my pack this year. I'll let you guys know what I think about it at the end of the season once I put it through the ringer. So second on the list is the boots. So there's a lot of boots out there. Everybody's got their own opinion, of course. I've been wearing Crispy for 5 years. I had the Laponias for 4 years, and the Idaho GTXs. Last year I picked up a pair of these Brickstall GTXs. I love these boots. I wore them on a October mule deer hunt, November elk hunt, and then came back home to Washington and hunted late archery elk with them. A great boot for some of those colder temps, and I'm looking forward to putting them to the test during spring bear. We're going to go pretty early this year and expect to be in a lot of snow, so they should perform pretty well in that condition. I'm also going to get my hands on a pair of the Altitude GTXs from Crispy. They're, I would say, not the Laponia. They're kind of a little bit more of aggressive tread, but that's kind of why I'm going to try those ones, is because the Laponias, I loved them. They're kind of like wearing a tennis shoe, super comfortable, but I do slip often in those, so I'm looking forward to those Altitude GTXs for, you know, early archery mule deer or elk in September. So anyway, let's move on from the boots. All right, guys, so next for me is let's talk about tents. So this hunt, we're going the end of April. There's going to be a lot of snow on the ground. We're obviously going to expect all kinds of weather, snow, rain, wind, hopefully some sunshine. So for this tent, I'm going to bring the Cimarron from Seek Outside. I have done a review on this tent if you want to see the full video, but so I'm going to go with the Cimarron, and then I have the medium stove, and I'm also going to bring the DST Tarp from Seek Outside as well. I just feel like you can't beat this combination for two guys. There's enough room in the Cimarron that you can fit two guys comfortably and all your gear inside the tent and the stove and sleep just fine. And then splitting this up between two guys, I believe with the tent, the stuff sack, the stakes, the paracord, the stove, and the center pole, it's like 6.5 pounds. So split between two guys, you're just over 3 pounds. Not terrible to pack. And this compresses down fairly small, so it doesn't take up a ton of room. I've had this Cimarron for 4 years. It's been bomb proof. I love these tents. So we're going with the Cimarron, and then the Tarp is an absolute must. I mean, you can set this thing up in a minute. I have the paracord pre-tied to it, and then I put a couple stakes in there. So usually I just stake down the 2 back corners, put 2 truck poles up front, guy those down, and then you can sit 2 guys under there comfortably and ride out a rainstorm, glass, start a little fire, have some coffee and relax, and still stay on the mountain and not get completely soaked. So that's what I'm gonna go with this year on that hunt, and I don't expect any issues with it. So, all right guys, let's move on to sleeping system. So I have 2 bags. I have the Stone Glacier Quilt, and then I have the Stone Glacier 0 degree. Honestly, you could probably just go with like the 15 degree bag from Stone Glacier, the Chilkoot, and run that on all your hunts. I like that quill for early season. That whole sleeping system, I'll do a separate video on, but it's like under 3 pounds for the pad, the bag, the pillow, the whole thing. So it's super lightweight. This is the 0 degree. I'm gonna bring this on this trip because it's gonna be super cold. So I'm gonna want that extra warmth and be nice and toasty. And then this is a Seek Outside ground cloth. These are, I think, 12 bucks. They're about 30 inches wide and I think 78 inches long. So plenty of space to put your pad on and protect your pad from pine needles, rocks, anything that's sharp. These are definitely a must-have for 12 bucks. And then this is the Big Agnes Q-Core SLX pad. Again, I'm gonna run this pad on this trip because it's gonna be cold. This pad is got a pretty high R value. It's a little bit heavier than my Thermarest Air LITE pad that I'll usually run with my quilt on early season hunts. But for this trip, I'm gonna want that warmth, I'm gonna want that space. So this is a little bit bigger, wider, longer, thicker pad. So I've had this for 4 years, completely bomb proof. If you're looking for one pad to do it all, I would highly recommend this Big Agnes Q-Core SLX. And there'll be a link to all this stuff in this video so you guys can find it nice and easy. And then this is just a Sea to Summit pillow. Honestly, I don't bring this all the time because I find that it usually ends up out in the middle of the tent in the middle of the night. Sometimes I do bring it though. I'll tuck my backpack up behind my head and then stuff the pillow in the sleeping bag, and that kind of helps me keep it in place. But as you can see, this thing is the size of my fist. It's tiny, weighs nothing. So if it's one of those creature comfort things you have to have, again, this is the Sea to Summit Arrows pillow, ultralight. This is a size large. It's the size I'd recommend. I bought the size smaller prior to this and it was too small. So this is the large. Check it out. And that pretty much rounds out my sleeping kit. Stone Glacier Chilkoot 0 degree, Big Agnes Q-Core SLX pad, Seek Outside ground cloth. And that's all you need. All right guys, let's talk cooking systems. So for me personally, I've landed on this Soto Windmaster. It's really small. It's got the foldable legs to set your cup on. The igniter never lets me down. I've had this thing for 3 years. You can see I've put it through the ringer and I've had no issues with it. So if you want to try something different other than like a jet boil, I would highly recommend this thing. It's just been absolutely bomb proof and it's super small. So folds down nice and compact. And then I just put it back in this little stuff sack and it fits right inside my titanium mug. So it's not clanking around making a bunch of noise, but as you can see, it's tiny and it works great. So yeah, that's what I use for a stove to boil water. And then this is the bale mug from Seek Outside, titanium mug. This thing's also awesome. I mean, it's just a cup, but I love it. It's got the little handle on it, so just in case you run out of fuel when you're back there, if you make that mistake, you can still boil water over an open fire if you feel like you need to, or if you want to, for hot food. And then I also bring a second titanium cup from Tokes. Again, it's just a cup, but I bring 2 because I like to do pour over coffee in the morning. Yes, I know that's a little weird, but I love coffee, so that's one of those luxury things. And that's why I bring a second cup, just so I can pretty much pour hot water over some fresh grounds in the morning. And then, like everybody else, just keep it simple. Long spork, gotta have the spork, not just a spoon. Makes it a lot easier to dig those noodles out of the bottom of the bag. So that's it for me. I keep my my cooking system pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So yeah, and again, you know, you guys, you can find pretty much everything on my gear list on Go Hunt's website. And if you use my promo code Mountain to Coast, you're going to save 10% on pretty much all your purchases. That code applies to almost everything in the gear shop. So if you're looking for something new, definitely check it out on Go Hunt's website. Punch in the code, save some cash, and it also helps me out a little bit. So, all right, guys, let's talk about filtering water. So I like to keep things simple. This is the Katadyn Be-Free microfilter. I bring one 4-liter dirty bag from Hydro Pack, and then I bring two 48-ounce Nalgene bottles. The beauty of this filter is once you've filled your dirty bag out of the creek, this threads right into the top of your bag. You thread it in, pop the pour spout open, and then all you do is dump it into your Nalgene or your water bladder, whatever you're packing for water. Very simple design. I've had that for 3 or 4 years now. You can replace the filters for like 10 bucks. I mean, we've filtered water out of elk wallows with that thing, no issues. And I always pack 2 Nalgene bottles. I use one for like mixing supplements, hydrate and recover, or some sort of ignite, whatever you want to bring. And then I keep one of my Nalgenes just with clean water for cooking or making coffee and whatnot. So I keep my water system really simple. If you want to try something new, again, I think you'll be impressed with this Katadyn filter. Lightweight, simple to use, no batteries, no charging anything, no tabs, no waiting 30 minutes to drink your water. Fill up your bag, dump it in, you're done. So anyway, this stuff also is available on the Go Hunt website. You should snag some and give it a shot and let me know what you think. All right, guys, let's talk clothing system. So for me, I wear a combination of First Lite, Sitka, and Stone Glacier. This stuff works really well for me. Everybody's kind of got their own flavor, so you got to kind of try out some different brands and see what you like and what you don't like. I've had no issues with any of this stuff. Some of this gear I've had for 4 or 5 years, no holes. It's just really durable, so it's what I stick with. Works for me really well. As far as socks go, these are from Darn Tough. These are the, I think they're called like the 2012 cushions or something like that. I have a couple pairs of these. They work really well, no holes, very durable. They dry quick, and that extra cushion in these is nice after a couple of days of hiking. So if you want to try a new pair of socks, snag a pair of those and tell me what you think. Starting off with my first piece, this is just a t-shirt from First Lite. It's like a merino wool polyester blend of some sort. As you can see, it's really stretchy. It's also got some holes in the armpits for ventilation, and it just dries really fast. So it's a nice t-shirt, nothing too special about it. I just like the way it feels and fits, and yeah. So moving on from there, this piece goes with me on every trip. This is the Stone Glacier Core lightweight hoodie. You can see it's got chest zip that goes down pretty low for some ventilation, and then you also have a separate zip right here. It's like a little stash pocket that works well for mouth reeds or your windicator or can of chew, whatever you got. Small items fit in there nice and well. And then I always bring, it's basically the same piece, but it's the Sitka Core heavyweight hoodie. Same design, just obviously it's a little bit thicker, so it's nice for those cold mornings. Again, it has that same chest zip and the same zip that comes way down here low for ventilation. So these are 2 pieces that I bring with me on every hunt. From there, I kind of move into a puffy layer, if you will. This is just a vest from Sitka. I've had this for a few years. I think it's called the Arrows LITE. Nothing super fancy about it. Got 2 pockets here and another chest zip. It's just a piece I always bring with me. You've been hiking, get up to that ridge, sit down, start glassing, get a little bit chilly, toss this thing on, and it kind of cuts that for you. So it's just a piece that I always bring with me. As far as pants go, last year I picked up a pair of the Stone Glacier DeHavilland lights. Prior to these, I always wore the Piranha Zion stretch pants, which those were great, but I wanted to try something different. So I picked up these pants from Stone Glacier, and I absolutely love them. If I was gonna complain about one thing at all about these pants, it doesn't personally bother me, but it might bother some of you guys out there. They are a little bit on the loud side, so I wouldn't recommend them for like a spot and stock archery hunt, but for anything other than that, they work great. Some awesome features about them. You have a full length zipper on both sides of the legs that goes down to your your calf and up to your hip, so awesome ventilation if you're getting warm. And then you have pockets. You have pockets above both knees, so I find myself putting my gloves in those pockets often, or my phone. And then you have the built-in belt on the waistline, which I love. I don't like wearing a belt. And then the waist on these pants are adjustable with that Velcro tab right there. You just peel that off, slide it over, and you can shrink that waistline in. So let's just say, you know, day 5, day 6, day 7, whatever, you've lost a little bit of weight and the waist is loose, you can adjust that and suck the waistline back in for a good snug fit. So great pair of pants if you want to give those a shot. And then as far as rain gear goes, I am using the Sitka Dew Point rain gear. Nothing fancy about it, just a coat, but it compresses down nice and small, doesn't take up a lot of weight in your pack, or a lot of room in your pack, excuse me. And just a simple piece of gear that hasn't let me down, so I stick with it. These are the Dew Point pants, Gore-Tex, as well as the coat. Awesome features on these pants as well. Again, you got that full length zip from the hip all the way down to the boot, peels all the way open, so you can put these babies on without having to take your boots off, which is nice. And then you also have, again, I'm a big fan of this, the built-in belt on the waistline. I think pretty much everybody does that, but I definitely appreciate it. So that's what I wear for rain gear. Puffy layers, real simple. This is just the Stone Glacier Grumman puffy coat with the built-in hood, of course. That'll be a staple in my pack as well. And then I also wear the Stone Glacier Grumman puffy pants. Again, same feature as every other pant I have on my table. Full zip all the way down to the boot. You can slip these things on and off without having to take your boots off. Got a Velcro tab on the bottom to suck them in, and then you have a Velcro tab up around the waistline on both sides to shrink that waist in if you need to. And then you got that front zip as well if you got to take a leak and you don't want to take all your puffy layers off, which is nice as well. All right, moving on to gaiters. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of gaiters just because my legs feel like they overheat, but they are necessary for crossing creeks and hiking through the snow. I will bring these on some hunts, just a pair of gaiters from Outdoor Research. Nothing special. I've had these for several years. They do the job, so I stick with them. And then for this trip, just a pair of Sitka Gore-Tex gloves. I forget what the actual name of these are, but they're just kind of like a mid-weight glove. Gore-Tex, definitely keep your hands warm, but they are thin enough still that you can still use your fingers for the most part. So on a spring bear trip, or like a October mule deer trip, these are a great option. I'll put a link in the corner to this exact glove if you want to check them out. Yeah, so that pretty much rounds out my my clothing kit for the most part. This gear will go with me on every hunt. I will interchange some of these pieces, like I probably won't bring the gaiters on a September archery hunt. I won't bring the puffy pants on a September hunt. And then I might switch out this Grumman puffy coat for like my lightweight First Light one. It's like I think it's called the Brooksdown sweater. So a few of these pieces will interchange, but for the most part, everything else will go in my pack on every trip. And yeah, like I said before, this stuff works great for me. So if you want to try some of these pieces out, I definitely would recommend that. And I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. So, all right, let's talk optics. So let's start with the bino harness. This is the Muley Freak Game Changer. It's a nice bino harness. You got your front zipper pocket, kangaroo pocket up front as well. 2 side pockets for wind indicators, whatnot. Adjustable full closure on the binos, accessory pocket, and then you got your rangefinder pocket. I've had this for, I don't know, 8 months. I ran it last year on all my trips. Great bino harness. Okay, so for rangefinder, this is the Vortex Razor 4000. No issues, no complaints. Works really well. Has no issues getting out a long ways. So great rangefinder, and you can't beat Vortex's warranty. So I stick with Vortex stuff for now anyway. These are just the Viper 10x42s with the ASIAC adapter for your tripod. Again, nothing special here. A pair of $500 binoculars. There's a lot fancier stuff out there if you feel like you need it. Someday I'll probably upgrade, but I found a lot of animals with these 10x42, so for now I'm gonna stick with these from Vortex. Spotting scope. This is the Vortex Razor 22 to 48 by 65 with the MagView digiscoping adapter. Angled, great spotter. It does the job for me. I have been thinking about trying the Kawa 553 that's a lot smaller than this. I think it's a 15 to 45 and it's about half the size, but it is pretty spendy, so I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. Maybe I'll pick that up next year. But as far as the digiscoping goes, there's a couple new things out there, but I personally prefer that MagView. All you do is flip open the built-in cover, and then there's a magnet on the back of your phone. That thing just, boom, pops right on. No special case needed, so that's what I prefer. If you get a new phone, switch the case, of course. All you gotta do is buy a new magnet for 10 bucks. You don't gotta buy a special fancy case. So I love the MagView setup, and that's what I'm sticking with for sure. All right, moving over to tripods. So this is tripods from Slik. It's called the 634 Pro, I believe, carbon fiber. And then I have the Surui VA5 pan head, and I switched out the arm or whatever you call it here with the AZIAC, all carbon fiber, super lightweight. So it's been flawless for me. I run my camera on this when we're filming, obviously my spotter and my binos. The binos with that AZIAC adapter that just goes on with one single screw. Push the button and this baby should slide right in, and then you're off and glassing. I love that setup. I didn't have a lot of luck with the center post adapter. It seemed like it was always loose and wanting to fall off. So if you're looking for a new bino adapter, I think it's like 25 bucks. Give that AZIAC bino clamp a shot. And then just to give you like a little bit better shot of that MagView, so obviously the spotter goes on, and then you're just gonna pop that open. There's a built-in magnet on this side. You download the MagView app, which is free. It's got like a little crosshair on it, and all you do is line that crosshair up with your eyepiece, and then boom, it drops right on. Flawless. I mean, I just don't think you could have come out with a better design. I was not a big fan of the phone scope. It worked, but having that huge fat case on there was not ideal. So got to give props where it's due, and I think MagView absolutely nailed that design. So if you want to try a new digiscoping setup, I'd give that a shot. This stuff's all interchangeable, so it's kind of like you buy it once. If you change spotters, they sell different adapters, so you don't have to buy the whole kit. You just buy the different adapter for the eyepiece, and then you just, new phone, you just get a new magnet. So can't beat it. Yeah, and that's all I run. Works for me. Nothing super fancy here really, just kind of middle of the road stuff, but I found a lot of critters with this stuff, so I'm gonna stick with it for now. All right, let's talk about electronics. So for me, a new piece this year I haven't tried yet, just got it in the mail, is this Big Blue solar charger, 28 watts. Pretty sure this thing replaced the Anker 513 that was a 21 watt. I purchased this. Obviously I like to film my hunts, bring my camera on all my trips for some great pictures and stuff, so this is gonna help me keep my power bank charged, my InReach Mini, and my batteries on my camera. I'm looking forward to trying this thing out, and I'll let you guys know how it performs after I've put it through the test. So, most important piece is my Garmin InReach Mini. Go Hunt often has these things on sale. I think the last couple years there's always a period where these things go like $100 off. So if they do that again this year and you're looking for one, pay attention to that and snag one while it's on sale. Obviously, the reason why you want to pack this is in case of an emergency, you can reach out to SOS and get some help if you have a grizzly encounter or break your leg or something crazy happens. And then obviously I love having it because I have the ability to keep in touch with my wife and my kids from anywhere. They offer all kinds of different plans depending on what you want to do. They have the unlimited option. You can text as much as you want. They have like a 10 message option that's super cheap, 20 message, blah, blah, blah. It goes up from there. So definitely check out one of these Garmin InReach Minis. It's an awesome tool. It's a great peace of mind, and it'll probably keep your wife happy because you can stay in touch and check in on the family. A piece I've had for a long time too is this Goal Zero Venture 70 power bank. This thing has been bomb proof for me. It is a little bit on the heavy side, but it also recharges my phone several times from 0 to 100%. So that's why I went with it, because I mean, I can take this thing from the house fully charged, go on a hunt for a week, and this thing will keep my phone charged and my inReach Mini charged, no problem. It's gonna come with a micro USB adapter and then your iPhone adapter. You got two USB plug-ins, so you can charge 2 things at once, and it has a built-in flashlight. So if you're looking for a power bank, I've had good success with this thing. Feel free to give it a shot. And then for headlamps, I always bring 2. Because I've had, probably like many of you guys, I've had my headlamp, like a dummy, turn on in my backpack, and I did not realize it until it was time to pack meat out. And it was pitch black, packed out a bowl. My headlamp was actually working, but my brother's headlamp turned on in his pack was completely dead. He packed that bowl out with an iPhone flashlight all the way out. We got to our bikes and we had to go down this nasty 2-mile, super steep 2-track. We had to, we Leuco taped his iPhone to the front of his handlebars. And anyway, it was a shit show. So I always bring 2, 1 rechargeable, 1 on batteries. The battery one, I take all the batteries out, put them in their own little spot just in case. So I always have 1 for sure that's gonna work as a backup. My main headlamp is the Peax Duo Headlamp. This is a rechargeable battery. This thing will light up the sky. It's 1,000 lumens. 2 different lights. You got your white light and you got your red light. It also has a couple different settings, so you can bring it down from 1,000 lumens, so on and so on, as far down as you want to go to reserve the light. I love this thing. It works really well. If you kill a bull or kill a deer, whatever, and it's dark, I like to set this thing up in the trees on a branch on 1,000 lumens on the animal, and then I'll throw my batteries in my backup headlamp and put it on my head. And then I got light coming from the sky, lighting up the ground all around me while I'm working, and then I have the light on my head. So I personally would recommend bringing 2 headlamps. It helps a lot. Yes, it is a little bit of extra weight, but it is a nice peace of mind to know that if one goes dead, you always got a backup. We've all been there, and I personally want to avoid that situation. So anyway, this is the Duo from Peax, and this is just a black diamond $50 special from, I think I picked it up from REI. So they work for me, and yeah, there's lots of options out there, so just snag a couple and I'm sure you'll be just fine. All right, kill kit. So for me, I will run the goat knives. This is the Capra Hunter. This is the interchangeable blade. It's the 60A blades, I believe is what they're called. Absolutely love this knife. Skeletonized, I think it weighs 1.4 ounces, extremely lightweight. I love the interchangeable blades. Knife gets dull, pop the blade off, put a fresh one on, you're right back to work. I'm not a fan of trying to sharpen a knife while I'm working on an animal. So this is the Capra Hunter. We also run that Ibex Mini. It's basically just a even lighter version of the Capra Hunter. So those 2 knives are awesome. This is the Cameos from Goat Knives. I just picked this one up. Haven't put it to the test yet, but I did want to try it. So like, really no reason, just wanted to grab another knife. Why not, right? So love the Goat Knives. A new piece for me last year. This is the marsupial ground cloth. Years past, I always packed out the meat on the bone, which that's another debate we could get into, but there's no reason to go down that road right now. So last year we started deboning our meat just to lighten the load a bit. So I picked up this marsupial ground cloth, super light, perfect size. About the size of this table here. Pop an elk quarter on this baby, get to work. I love this system. One guy's peeling quarters off, take a quarter. One guy's working on getting meat cut off and put in the game bags. I did not find that we lost any time processing in the animal. When a guy needs help peeling off the hind quarter, stop deboning the meat, help him get the hind quarter peeled off, set it on the ground cloth, back to work. He's on the front quarter, peeling off back straps, tenderloins, neck meat. It just is a nice flow, and you shave quite a bit of weight deboning your meat. If you use the ground cloth and you're diligent about it, the meat stays clean. It doesn't really add that much more trimming or meat loss when you get home, as long as you take your time and keep the meat clean in the field. That's kind of the key. So I won't be going back. Packing meat on the bone sucks unless it's close to the truck. So definitely love this piece from Marsupial, and it's pretty cheap. For game bags, I just run the Argali High Countries. I think there's 4 game bags in here. They're about the same width as the frame of your backpack, which I love, so the meat doesn't want to blow out the sides of your frame. These are washable. I've had these for several years. Throw them in the washer when the wife's not looking, wash them, bring them out in the garage, hang dry them for a couple days. Back in the case they go. Great game bags, and they have reflective cording on them and a reflective Argali logo. So if you're coming back for a load of meat in the night, your headlight happens to flash in that direction, it lights up pretty bright, makes it a lot easier to find. Like everybody else, I always pack like 50 to 80 feet of paracord, probably closer to 50 for stringing meat up or whatnot. One thing I forgot to mention too is I always bring this Thermarest Z seat. This would be kind of part of my optics kit. Packs down nice and small, super light, but folds out to a nice seat. Also works as a good pad for whatever, or a pillow, or lots of things you can do with this. It works for a good rear rest on your rifle. I've shot off it like that. You can fold it in half as well for your rear rest and put some pressure on it. There's many things you can use these for. Also, these are pretty cheap. I want to say they're like 15 or 20 bucks. So this thing's been pretty solid. Leuco tape, absolutely must have. I cannot tell you how many times I have taped my feet with this stuff. It is so sticky, it will not come off. It'll save your ass on blisters. My brother is notorious for cutting himself. Every trip, this goes to use on so many things. Like I was saying, we've taped his phone to the handlebars, taped up wounds with this stuff, taped gear back together, blisters. I will not go anywhere on any hunting trip without a decent amount of Leuco tape in my pack. You got to grab a roll. This stuff is freaking awesome. I don't know how they do it, but it literally soaking wet, sticky feet. It doesn't come off. It's just awesome stuff. Sorry, a little tangent there, but that stuff's awesome. Then my little kit here, got some Goat Knives 60 XT interchangeable blades, and then a couple pairs of surgical gloves or mechanic gloves, whatever you want to call them. Got those from work. And what else do I have in here? That's it. My tags are usually in there too, but I don't have them out yet. So there's that. And then trekking poles. Gotta have some trekking poles. Usually I only bring one because I just find that I only need one. These are the Peax Sissy sticks. I think they're called the Z pole because they collapse. I've had these for a couple years, I think 2 years now. Great trekking pole, lightweight. I love that they compact down nice and small. You got a carbon fiber upper and then an aluminum lower. They come with interchangeable feet, so these are the small ones. They come with a wider set of feet for obviously like snow and whatnot, and then the rubber grommet if you want it. So I don't usually use these or bring them, but for storage I put them on. Yeah, so obviously they're fully adjustable for height, and then yeah, you just push the button and they compress, unfold, and they're what, I don't know, 14 inches long, nice and small, and they have a little strap to keep them together. So these have been great for me, and that's what I'm going to use. All right, so let's talk about weapon on this hunt. So last year I was shooting a Browning LR Max 300 Win Mag, phenomenal rifle, shot a bear and a mule deer with that gun. They did not take a single step. The reason why I switched, that gun was heavy. It's like almost 12 pounds built. I decided to go with a 7 PRC, excited about the new caliber, and I wanted to build something lighter. So I picked up, this is the Christensen Ridgeline FFT. This is the Vortex Razor 4.5 to 22 by 50. And then I use the DeHavilland Pro bipod that I've had for a couple of years. I pulled this scope off my 300 and I pulled the bipod and adapter off my 300 as well. So all I did was picked up the rifle. I've shot this thing at the range 3 or 4 times now. I have not shot an animal with this thing yet, but I cannot wait to take it with me. This thing is under 8 pounds with the bipod, scope, the whole deal. So I shaved almost 4 pounds off my rifle setup, and this thing has been a tack driver. So I'm really looking forward to putting this thing to the test here in a couple weeks. Another awesome piece of gear, I love this bipod, I've had it for a few years, is the DeHavilland Pro from Spartan. So when you buy one of these bipods from Spartan, all you're gonna do is you're gonna pull your sling adapter off of your gun, and you're gonna grab the adapter from Spartan, you're gonna screw it onto the stock. It's gonna come with a couple different gaskets to find one that fits the shape of your stock perfectly. You bolt this on, and then this thing attaches with a magnet. So it literally just pops right in. There's a couple different ways you can use this. So as you can see, with popping it in with that Spartan logo facing out away from the gun, this allows you some articulation in the bipod itself. And then this right here allows you to tilt the rifle left to right. Of course, you can tighten all that stuff up so it doesn't move at all. And then it's just a push of the button to adjust the bipod. So there's lots of adjustment there depending on what you need to do. Now, if you don't want the rifle to swing left to right, you just pop that out with a good snug pull, and then you just spin this around so the Spartan logo is now facing you, and there's a little metal tab on this side. You pop that right back into the adapter, and now it's not going to swing left or right on you. You could still do this on unlevel ground to get your scope level, but it's not going to swing on you left or right. So a couple different options there. Of course, I love it because it's ultra lightweight, and I don't like packing a bipod on my rifle. It always digs into my shoulder and it drives me freaking nuts. So kind of spendy, but buy once, cry once. In my opinion, it's worth the investment. So Spartan DeHavilland Pro bipod. And then finally, this is just the Go Hunt ammo wallet. Got 15 rounds of 7 PRC in there. If you want, you can run 10, throw your hunting license, whatever else, whatever works for you. And the hunting wallet there, or the ammo wallet. Simple cord here. Done deal. Simple design, but works really well. So that pretty much wraps up my gear dump video for Spring Bear, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 10K on the channel this year. It would mean a lot to me if you do that for me, and leave a comment. Also, I am going to do a giveaway on all of my 2023 hunting videos. I have several hunts planned. I got spring bear in Idaho, spring bear in Oregon, fall bear in Washington, archery elk in Idaho, mule deer in Idaho, rifle elk, late season stuff. I got several hunts planned, and I'm going to give away something at the end of every video. All you're going to have to do when I start dropping those videos to get entered is leave a comment and subscribe. And I'm going to be giving away some good stuff. Goat knives, Go Hunt memberships, gift cards to Crispy for boots, Mountain to Coast swag, all sorts of stuff. Slayer calls, bugle tubes, you name it, you're going to get it. And you don't have to buy anything. All you got to do is subscribe and leave a comment. So again, thanks for watching. If you have any questions on this gear, let me know. You can reach me on Instagram or in the comment section. There'll be a link to all this stuff in the video as well, so make sure you search that description box. And yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.